So I'll create a new project. Serialize student. Then I'll create a class in a package. Student. Then in the student class, I'll just add what? Student name. So private. We're all coding. We're all coding. And please type fast. Private string. No copy. Private name. ID. Then private password. Password. Now I don't want to send the student password. I want it to be what? Secretive. So I'll not send that one. So I'll not persist in the state of this one. So I'll make it transient. So I'll make the password transient. So this is how to make a variable transient. Then you generate getters and setters. I'll give a default constructor. But the most important thing is what? Because I'm making this class what? Serializable. I must implement what? Serializable what? Interface. And you see, I don't have to what? Override what? Any method. I don't have to override any method. So I just implement serializable. My default constructor. This things we've been doing them several times. Then the last time I said, for your own classes, always implement what? Generated to string for the class. You also override the hash code and the equals method for comparison. You can see the name was not, password was not selected because it's transient. Then finally I'll generate getters and setters for them. I'm not typing anything, I'm just generate. For the to string, just take the default values. Then when it comes to the getters and setters, you select all. To string, hash code, equals method, getters and setters. Just right click source, just generate them. I just want to type in your getters and setters and let's go. Who has been typing getters and setters? Who are? So don't come again. Not like that. Maybe next time. Generate one of them. What do you see me typing? I just type this thing like the rest. You are still not letting me start. If you're doing this things, I'm doing you wasting your time on. So that will not fetch you. Because if someone is marking, getting successful will not fetch you one. You are generating everything. So why should I do that? Okay, let's move on. Now, you are not even doing this like serializable interface. Serializable interface. Have you implemented serializable interface? Okay, now we have our student object. Then we want to write it to a file. So I'll create another class, manipulate or process student. Process student. Then the process students, I'll create three methods. Save student, read student, save and read student. So public void. I like boolean. I need to know the status. When I'm saving, so save student or save object. Then I need what? An object or a student object. So student class which control space. Use the ID. It's all part. I don't. You don't have to type for the name. Control space. It will suggest some names for you. So you don't have to be typing these things. You don't just learn. You learn how to do it faster. It's not doing it for you. And this thing is not smart. Or if you bribe them. So this is save object. Public. When I read objects, I want to return an object. So I'm making this one specific for the student. So student, my class, I need to rename it. Read student. Read student. And it should return a student object. So I'll create a student instance here. Then I return the student. It's always your class name should what? Singular, not what? Plural. So it's a student. So I'm removing my S. I always try to follow the convention. So student, not students. You have a student object. So in my process, everything has been updated. So student. So now, to save an object, you don't only need the student, but you need the destination. So I want to save to a particular file. So I'll need to call it what? File source or destination. So this is a file. Then to read to, I'll need a destination or the file source. So the same thing. Then here, this is the method implementation. Just 2 lines. First, I'm writing a student object. So it's what? Not just as a character, but it's what? Byte oriented. So I use those stream guys. So first I'll need a file input stream. file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream. I'll pass the source to it. Then here object, because I'm not writing a character. This is bytes object. Surround try catch. Then I'm writing what? An object. So I need what? Object what? Input stream. Object input stream. OIS is equal to new object input stream. Then I'll pass the file input stream to it. I have to add catch plus. So now that I have this OIS, to save an object is very simple. I just say OIS dot write okay. I've swapped them. This rather is supposed to be input and output. So object output. I'll just change output. I don't remember this in my head. All I know that there's a method what? Object what? File output stream and FOS OOS. So OOS dot write object. So OOS dot write object. This is now FOS dot write object. Then I'll pass the student which is coming. That's what I want to write. So I'll write it. It returns a void. So first, after that, I have to close it. So OOS dot close. If you don't close, it will not persist. Then FOS dot what? Close. So these are my what? This writing. So I've written this. Then when I get here, I'll just change the status to true. So I know by this time I've written it successfully to what? To the file. This saving to the file. So first give the destination and the object that you want to save. Now Guys, don't type this. When you keep typing, you're wasting your time on the value. When you type file, control to this, you're going to unless you're protecting because it's not like that. It's the same thing. So you just copy the code. I'll not copy, I'll just type it faster here. File output stream. So now it's what? Input. So file input. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to type. Control space. It comes. FIS is equal to new file input stream. I'll pass the source to it. Just watch what I do. Object. I'll surround the try catch before I continue. So this, then to read the first one, use what? Write object. This one to the same thing, what? OIS dot read object. Then it returns you an object. It returns you an object. Now I'm expecting a student object, so I'll just say I already have a student app there. So student is equal to what? This, but this is return an object, so I need to cast it to what? Student. So I'll just add casting to it. So I've casted it to what? A student object. Then I'm returning that object here. So I'm done with my serialization. It's left with testing. Just 3 lines of code. FIS, OIS, then read object, then you store the result in the student, then you cast it. If you're able to do the top one, it's the same thing, right? Read object, then you cast it. So this one will return your student from the file, just as we're writing to the file and reading from the file using the string. This time we are using what? Object. So let me just test it here. But before that, I'll create a parameterized constructor so that I'll create an object on the fly. So right click, source, generate constructors using false. Okay, then I'll create my run object or run student. It doesn't matter. Check. Then here in testing, I'll just create an instance of the student, write it, and save it. So student is equal to new student. I'll use this one so that I'll pass data to it. Kofi, Baba, hash. So first, I would like us to write first and see whether it was successful. So to write, I need a process class instance. So I just say process student is equal to new process student. So I've created an instance of it. Then this is too long. Let me make it PS. Then I'll just say PS dot what? How is it complaining? Let me bring it inside. I don't have the time. PS dot save object. Then the source is the file that you want to save to. So I have to create a file as we've already done it. So file is equal to new file. Then I'll give it a name. Student file. And since this is an output stream, I can just put it anything, any extension. It will still write to it. Then let me be sure whether the file has been created. So file dot what? Create new file. So it creates it for me. I have to surround with try catch. So this will create a file for me. Then here I'll just write to the student. So let's try our code and see the errors that we get. If you are lucky, there will be no error. So there's no output. So let's go and check whether the student has been written. WD student, serialized student. So you have student.dat. Unfortunately, you can't view it. You can view it with this and see whether you can. Okay. So you get what? com.aiti.serialize some encrypted stuffs. Java.lang, student name, Baba, Kofi. What was the password? Hash something. So now you've been able to what? Write there. Now let's read and display it. So I just comment the what? The save. Then to read, I know it returns an object. So I'll create a student object to receive the incoming student. So student. Okay, I already have a student there. Let me create a new one. Student received student is equal to new student. At the moment, this one doesn't have any state. When I say state, it means it doesn't have any what? Values. So I just say received student is equal to what? PS dot what? Read student. Then I pass a file to it. Then save. Then I will display what? Because of the to string, I'm displaying the student. So sys out received student. Let's run it and see whether we get something. So you get what? Kofi and what? This. We don't get the what? The password. Let me see my string. Did I eliminate the password? Yes. So let me just add a password. Password plus. So I'll just add some text. Another plus. Pass is equal to this. So let me run it again. This time, what do you get for the password? Null. Because it was what? Transient. So you can save the state, send it across. So if it were to be an RMI, you just send it across the what? The network. It's the same files, the same source of codes. Process, just a recap. The main is just testing your classes. I first wrote into the file, then read from it, and displayed the file.